Welcome to the More Than Fitness podcast.
All right, and we are ready to rock. All right, guys, listen up. I'm sick. This is going to be the best that I can do. My voice, bear with me here. I know I'm a little bit nasally. However, I promise you the value in this episode will be nothing short of spectacular. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Minisode on the More Than Fitness podcast. This is Minisode number 13. And like I said before, I want to keep answering your all's specific questions about things about fitness, nutrition, life, etc. If you want to actually ask a question, you can click the link below. I've got a little Google form. You can fill out your question, and I would be happy to dedicate one of these minisodes to you if the question is good enough for other people to gain value from it as well. And today I have a question from Azra, I think is how you say her name. Azra asks, "Hi, Matt. I've been working out consistently for 5 weeks and am seeing great results. However, I'm about to go traveling around Asia for a month and am very worried that I'll slip up and reverse all of the great work I've done so far. What are your tips for A, working out while traveling with limited access to gyms, and B, keeping track of calories of unfamiliar food? Thank you." Okay. I think the question is great, and I think a lot of you probably have these exact same questions whenever you're traveling. But in the context of this specific person, I want to draw attention to what they said. So they said they've been working out consistently for about 5 weeks. They're seeing great progress, but now they're concerned that all of their progress is going to go to shit while they're traveling around in Asia for a month. There's actually what's most important here is actually not trying to make amazing progress while you're traveling in Asia. What's most important here, at least I think, so I'm going to get into some specific tactics on exactly what you should be doing. However, I think there's two overarching important things that you need to make sure that you focus on instead while you are on this trip. The first being to be okay with little to no progress, right? So on this trip, like the goal should not be to, okay, I've been making great progress for 5 weeks, so I just need to keep continuing to make the same rate of progress while I'm gone, or else I'm a complete failure. That's not how I want you to look at this. How I want you to look at this instead is maintenance. Because believe it or not, maintenance is still progress whenever you're traveling or whenever life happens or something like that, because you still have to put in the work in order to maintain where you're at currently. But what this is going to do, it's going to set you up so that whenever you get back home, you're able to jump right back into things, get the ball rolling, and continue making progress that way. That doesn't mean that you can't make progress while you're traveling or anything like that. But what I don't want you to do is to put tons of pressure on yourself to make the exact same rate of progress while you're traveling as you were whenever you were in your routine. You had a nice gym to go to, you had access to certain foods. And again, your days were consistent for most of the time. I'm assuming whenever you're traveling in Asia, all of those variables are going to be thrown for a loop. And so I think being okay with little to no progress is going to set yourself up, at least mentally, for success whenever you get back. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want you to think about is so you said you've been working out consistently for 5 weeks. That's great, and congrats. Like I'm super proud of you for doing that. But the most important thing here is to reinforce the healthy habits that you've created over these past 5 weeks along this traveling journey over the next month, right? Because what you don't want is to have that all or nothing mindset and then go on this trip and then think, oh, I need to, again, going back to like, I need to make sure that I do everything the same, or I need to do everything perfect and make tons of progress. That's just not going to be the case. What instead you need to focus on is building or reinforcing these healthy habits that you've built up over the past 5 weeks. And this is going to be a long-term success play, because what you do in this month, it's not going to make that big of a difference unless what ends up happening is you just say screw it and you don't try and do anything and you fall back into old habits. You don't work out at all. You don't pay attention to your nutrition at all because again, you're trying to think that, okay, if I'm not going to be perfect, I'm just not going to worry about anything. That's exactly what you don't want to do. So what you want to do is how much or what you do doesn't necessarily matter as much as you doing something. That's what's going to be the big key here. Every single day, or let's say that normally whenever you wake up, you go to the gym after that. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the mornings after you wake up, you go to the gym. Normally, whenever you're here, you're not traveling yet. You're just at home. What I want you to do is try and carry over those same healthy habits to whenever you're in Asia. So after you wake up, if you could do some type of exercise or some type of conscious decision to be like, okay, I'm reinforcing this healthy habit that I had whenever I was back home. And this doesn't mean like, oh, you need to go to a formal gym, you need to get in a complete workout, everything like that. This could be as simple as, okay, you wake up and normally you work out, so let's just get in a body weight workout, or let's go for a walk. Or even if you just wake up and then you make the conscious decision to do 3 sets of air squats or something, it doesn't matter that those 3 air squats aren't going to give you like the biggest muscle growth ever in your legs. What matters is that you're reinforcing that healthy habit of waking up and then working out after you wake up. That's the key here, because that's the long-term play that we're looking for. And like I said, especially if you've only been doing this for 5 weeks, habit formation is absolutely going to be crucial so that whenever you return home, you continue down this healthier path of getting shit done on a consistent basis. Now, to get into the specific tactics, so that was the first 2 things. The 2 most important things is to be okay with little to no progress, and then 2 is to reinforce the healthy habits that you've built over the past 5 weeks. That's the long-term plays here. That's going to be the most important. These specific tactics, these are kind of just icing on the cake, and also how you can do that. So the first specific tactic that I have written down here is body weight workouts and walking are going to be your best friend whenever you're away on this trip, because you always have your body and you can always fit in some type of a workout, typically on a daily basis, or a every other day basis. What I would recommend is if you normally, let's say, work out 3 times a week, like with actual resistance training, just do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you can do a body weight workouts on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then on the weekends you can maybe go for a walk. So work out one day, walk the next day, work out one day, walk the next day. And these body weight workouts are going to be super simple, right? These can take 10 to 20 minutes tops. But again, we're reinforcing those healthy habits. And also you could see some especially if you're a beginner. You said consistently for 5 weeks. I don't know if that means that you're a complete beginner to the game, but if you're a complete beginner and then you're still doing these body weight workouts, you might be able to still see some progress. Nonetheless, we're doing this for the habit formation, and then also you're going to burn a little bit of calories, but you're probably going to feel better overall about yourself as well. You're not going to have that guilt of just doing nothing, right? So a good body weight workout that you could do is just have a circuit of exercises. And so what I would do is I would have something like, if you're a complete beginner, push-ups may not be the best thing, but you could do incline push-ups. And for others of you listening who may be stronger, you could do regular push-ups. But the higher incline you do, the easier the push-up is going to be. So if you have a couch or a bed or something like that, or even a chair, like you can do incline push-ups on that chair or couch. Then after that, do some air squats. Then after that, you could do some crunches. And then after that, you could do some hip thrusts, right? So body weight hip thrust, you put your back against the couch, and then you basically squeeze your glutes. Look it up on YouTube. You should be good to go there. But yeah, that would be one round. So you would have push-ups, air squats, crunches, and hip thrusts. Those would be 4 exercises that are super simple to do, and it's going to be a full body workout where you're going to be feeling good afterwards. It's going to be somewhat difficult. And it's also going to be as difficult as you make it. I would say do 10 to 20 reps of each exercise with no rest because we're doing this as a circuit, right? So I would do 10 to 20 reps for each exercise, no rest in between each exercise. And then after you complete all 4 of those exercises, I would rest for like 60 to 120 seconds. And that's going to be 1 round. I would recommend to do maybe 3 to 5 rounds and just gauge this on however hard you're willing to go that day. Or how hard you're sweating or whatever. Like if 3 rounds is super tough for you, just call it quits right there. But if you're feeling good, you can keep going for 5, 6, however many rounds you want. And that's going to be an effective workout. That's totally fine. And again, that's going to reinforce your healthy habits so that whenever you return home, you're able to jump right back into things. And the most important thing is to make sure that these are at the same time each day. If you can, of course, like if it's the difference between you getting in the workout and you not getting in the workout, that's fine. But the key here to reinforcing these healthy habits is to make it after a certain event. So you wake up, do the workout. Or after dinner, you have some downtime. After dinner, then you do the workout, and try and make that consistent each day. That's just going to make it easier on you to get into a routine and habit and be like, okay, whenever I do X, then I do Y. That's just going to be a little bit easier to make sure that this healthy habit sticks. As far as your nutrition goes, I think an intermittent fasting approach would be super helpful here, just because if you can reduce your overall eating window, that's going to probably reduce the amount of calories that you consume on a daily basis. So something like probably like a 12-hour fast is going to be a little bit more realistic here. I'm not expecting you to not eat for 16 hours of the day whenever you're traveling in Asia. So yeah, I would say do like a 12-hour fast or something like that. Because I think tracking calories, especially if you're new to this, it's just going to be too tedious. And then you're not going to actually end up following through with it. And again, as soon as that happens, if you have the game plan, I'm going to track everything, and then you fall off the wagon, then you're like, okay, now I'm off my diet, so screw it, I'm just going to eat everything in sight. Instead, I would focus on using intermittent fasting, but then also, hold on one sec. Sorry guys, I apologize. I'm trying to do my best here. Other than the intermittent fasting, I would also try to, so just don't eat like an asshole as a whole. Try and minimize your desserts if you can, but then also balance out your calories. And what I mean by that is, so if you eat a super heavy meal in the morning, try to not eat such a heavy meal at nighttime and also maybe at lunch. I would just try and balance out your calories that way, or vice versa. If you know you're going to have a huge dinner that night, try and graze some throughout the morning and the lunch, so that you're not eating a ton multiple times per day. So I think portion control and minimizing the asshole foods, I think that's going to be your best bet as opposed to tracking calories. I would also go, hold on, I'm going to get a sip. I would also go heavy on the meat and the veggies. I think this is always a good fail-safe for anybody who's not trying to track calories or not have too crazy of food rules. When in doubt, go heavy on the protein and heavy on the vegetables. Those two things together, and you're going to be golden. And if you can, view the menus ahead of time of restaurants that you go to. That way you can pick out a few options that could work with you. And then I would also make sure that you're always hydrated. So keeping water on hand, that's going to be super crucial as well. Especially in over in Asia, you're probably going to be walking and stuff, and you just want to make sure that you do stay hydrated. And then the next one would be to never miss twice. I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but making sure that you don't have 2 unhealthy meals in a row. So 2 calorie dense meals in a row. So make sure that if for breakfast, you have a very big meal. The next meal, try and make it lighter. Try and make it a salad, lean protein, something like that, some fruit. So just try and never miss twice. And lastly is follow the healthy, unhealthy rule. This is my rule of, if you ever have anything, I always like to use Chick-fil-A as my example, but anytime I go to Chick-fil-A, if I decide to get the fried chicken sandwich, I make sure that I also pair that with a fruit cup instead of French fries. So this is the healthy, unhealthy rule. If anytime you have something quote unquote unhealthy or less nutritious, you pair it with something more nutritious and healthy. So fried chicken with fruit, or fried chicken with a salad, something like that. And yeah, I think as long as you try to be mindful about the decisions that you're making on a day-to-day basis, and don't judge yourself too hard. Like you're in Asia. I want you to have fun. I don't want you to be super hyper focused on food. But if you focus on those things and try to at least do something every single day, it's going to be way better than doing nothing. All right. And so that is it for Minisode number 13. Azra, thank you so much for asking your question again. You can ask your question in the link below in the description. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching.